Today we are outside busy moving chickens. So we use this Premier One it's electric fence, and it's poultry netting. We actually use it when we have been using it to move our chickens around the farm. But what we're getting ready to do is build a permanent coop for the chickens. We're going to fence in the garden that you can kind of see behind us so that the chickens can roam freely. We can let them out in the mornings, and then close them back up at night. And then my garden's protected because that's the main thing I need to protect right now. They keep getting in there. They pretty much pulled up all the beets from fall, eating the beet greens that I planted for fall. And they love getting in the garden and destroying. So in order to do that, we're going to fence up the garden and let the chickens roam free. But what we're gonna do first, before we have their coop built, we're gonna move them. We had them in this area for a month or so, and we let them clear it up because it used to be weeds all around our greenhouse, and we were trying to get them to clean the area up. And they do an excellent job at it. But now it's cleaned up, it's rained for a few days, and you can see it looks a little muddy here. So we're gonna move them to another area. We're actually gonna move them to the garden area and let them clean that up so that we can fence and work on planter boxes over the next several months during the winter. So we're gonna move them there for now. We'll be working on their permanent coop or permanent housing in the meantime, and then stuff will get situated. So what you'll kind of learn as you go through your homesteading journey, at least what we have learned, is that you try things and it works, and some things work for some people and they don't always work for you. So you have to figure out what works the best for you on your homestead. Moving a Premier One fence or any type of mobile poultry netting like this is time consuming. Sometimes it takes more than one person. So if you're gonna be doing this, you need to think about the resources you need to have available in manpower and just time. And then also we think about our chickens and our animals, and we'd rather them free range and get all of the bugs and scratch around in the yard instead of us keeping them in one kind of permanent setting for a period of time. Now we'll still use the netting just like we did here for certain jobs. So if we have an area we want them to clean up, they're really good at that. They like to work for that. They can use it as their food as they're working, and then they're doing a job for us too, like tilling up garden space. So we'll use them, and we'll use the fencing like this again in the spring when we want to till up some garden areas. But for now, we're going to get them moved. We'll work on permanent housing over the next few months, so stay tuned to see that. And we have something else we're going to work on in the greenhouse. Now comes the fun part. We got to catch all these critters so that we can move their fence. So we're catching them and actually putting them in one of our chicken tractors that we have and move around the yard that we use for our meat birds when we have those, or baby chicks when we have those. So we're going to catch these chickens and then we'll get the fence moving. That was fun. We got them all captured, got them in the chicken tractor so they can eat a little bit while we move the fence. you can see we got everybody moved. Everyone has come out and they are happy to be enjoying their new spot. So I'm kind of glad where we ended up putting the fence, like coming off of the greenhouse and coming down. This is maybe half of the area that we want to actually put the permanent fence in the garden. So by doing this, it'll give us an idea if this is really what we want, or do we want to move it somewhere. It'll go all the way up to the deck and all the way down the deck and across. So by putting the temporary fence here, it'll give us a good idea. We'll be able to tell if this is definitely the area size-wise and where we want all of the posts and all to go. So you can see the chickens are busy exploring their new area. They love to get out there and start eating away. Bugs and lots of places for them to scratch. And Craig's just finishing up a few places in the fence there where you can see where it's kind of slack so that we can keep it tight on them. And everybody is listening at them, noisy and happy. Look at him going to town. Ducks are finding all sorts of things. So one thing I forgot to add is that these are our oldest batch of laying hens. Some of them are a little over 2 years old, and so we actually will not be keeping them through winter. We will be processing them and using them for stew birds and to make broth and soups out of. So we're gonna let them work a little bit longer. They're starting to molt, and we're just not gonna feed them through winter when we're not really getting a lot of eggs from them either. So we will be processing them soon. So they'll only be in this area temporarily. We have 14 baby chicks that have hatched in the past 3 weeks. And so they are in another coop that you can't see over there right now. And so they will actually end up being our yard birds, our layers, who will actually go into the permanent chicken coop that we're going to be building. So we still have the batch of chickens that are actually only 6 months old. They're the ones that are in the pasture, and those are the ones where Riley sells our eggs. These are oldest ones, which is why we got the newest ones that are down at the pasture, because we knew these were going to be being processed this winter. So we won't give them too many more weeks, actually, just because they are starting to molt. And when chickens are molting, they're not laying because they're using all of that protein to produce new feathers. So, and it takes a lot of protein actually to grow a feather. So when that really starts happening, we have seen a decline in eggs. And so just a few more weeks, they will probably stop laying for several weeks anyway while they finish their annual molt. So we will actually go ahead and process these birds then, because we're not feeding them and we know that their laying span is pretty much coming to an end. There's something approaching like the 3-year mark, and laying kind of slacks off after that. So we have the birds down there that will replace them. We have 14 baby chicks that have hatched from our black Australorps and some of our buff Orpingtons that will be taking up the new coop up here that we're going to be building, and they'll be our yard birds that free range and give us eggs. We will be keeping this rooster in here because he is friendly. You can go in there with them, walk around. He doesn't bother anybody, and we will be putting him in the pasture with our other, that is noisy. We'll be putting him in the pasture with all of the other chickens that are in the pasture, because the rooster down there is awful. He does a wonderful job of protecting his hens, which is what he is supposed to do, but he attacks every single person that comes down there. And since this rooster is much calmer, he still protects his hens, but he does not come after us like the other rooster does. So we're going to be eating that rooster down there, replacing him with this one. And we still have our black Australorp rooster that is up here, and is much more friendly as well. That's going to be about all for us today. Thank you for joining us, watching us move our temporary fencing and getting the chickens moved to a new spot. I hope this showed you a little bit about mobile poultry fencing and how you can use it. It is great if you want chickens to work in an area for a short period of time, like work in a garden spot. So like for this, they'll clear this up for us some, and then we'll be able to work in it this winter when we're working on putting up new garden boxes, fencing in the garden area. So they'll have it all cleaned up for us. It's excellent for that. If you are gonna want to be moving your birds a lot, just know that it takes time and resources and manpower to get that done and to move it. We have just decided that as busy as we are and other things in the homestead we want to devote our time to, moving a fence is not what we want to focus on right now. So we're going to let the birds free range in the permanent coop, and we will fence in the garden. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. We have lots more coming. We have a new animal coming to our homestead this week, so we'll have to show you that. You can put a guess in the comments as to what you think it might be. And we have some new things coming too. We'll keep you posted and let you see. Of course, the chicken coop, as we start building that, we'll let you see us fencing in the garden and building more garden boxes. And we just have big plans for fall and winter here on Cram Farms.